Hey there, Internet. Keeve here, and welcome to the Cars and Keeve YouTube channel. In this video, we're going over the Aussie EZ Spray. So the Aussie EZ Spray is different than most sprayers. You don't pump it. You don't have to fill it with air every single time. You don't need a battery, but it will spray forever until the liquid is gone. And that is because it uses an air pouch basically on the inside. There's a bladder in there, and the pressure of the water being fed into the unit from the water hose, because there's a quick connect right here, that fills it up. That creates and helps with the pressure along with the bladder on the inside, and it just forces the liquid out. So the 5 liter here is $99.99 and the 3 liter is $84.99. It's an Australian company, but they have like a US website that you can buy from. Obviously you have the product here, and I've been using it for a while and it's freaking good. But it's got some cheapy components to it, and it's got some quirks. We'll go over those throughout the video. So I've been playing with it for a while, like I said. I've already figured out a way to change this to be able to use, say, like just a normal sprayer. And it actually works pretty good. I wouldn't use this hose. This is a Blue Shield polyester 1/4-inch hose that I had laying around, and it had 1/4-inch threads. Those 1/4-inch threads, they screw directly into this little elbow outlet that runs this coiled hose, runs right in there. Now, an air hose would work probably much better, a much more flexible, like a Flexilla air hose would work good here, but the 1/4-inch MPT with some Teflon seals just fine and works just fine. So that gives you that ability to change it out if you want to run an elbow or do this or that. You have to ensure whatever you do doesn't mess with your ability to take off this part right here, because if you want to add chemicals to your tanks, this is how you do it. Now, these are definitely meant for gardening type chemicals, so I would think any kind of a slightly acidic chemical should be fine in here. Alkaline, it's not built for that. It doesn't have the seals, so I wouldn't use anything like an APC, a pH neutral soap maybe, but why would you put soap in something like this? It doesn't create foam. You're mainly going to use this rinseless wash, spotless DI water, something like that. These are a bit small for spotless DI water because 5 liters, I mean, that's not a whole lot, but it definitely could help. But rinseless wash is definitely what this would be for. Now, these have Gardena quick connects. I'm not a big fan of them. They have this fitting like this is plastic, and it's got the auto shut off in there. So when you put your water hose on here, if this isn't connected, it stops. But when I connected my Ely hose with all the flow I have, it literally pushed the plastic out and broke it instantly on the other one. This is the one that actually works. Depending on how much liquid's in there and how much weight is in there, it depends on how far you can kind of really pull this. You really can't leave this stationary and, you know, pull it over. You would need something like this, a hose with a certain amount of length that you're not really tugging on the tank itself. So the wand is kind of cheapy feeling. The plastic, it's not the greatest quality in the world. This, see, it's so bendable that you can extend past its point right there. But I mean, it's worked well. The handle is very, very narrow, which allows you to get your hands on that trigger. It has some ergonomics to it, so I mean, it feels really good. There's no really fatiguing going on there. The wand, I don't think is stainless. It feels like aluminum. The nozzle has 4 different settings, and you don't have to worry about its orientation to the sprayer, that you have to have it perfectly aligned up, because this will spin, no issue, and it's flexible in any direction. So there's a gauge here, and that gauge isn't actually pressure. It's how many liters of water that are left in there. So it holds 5 liters. So if you ever fill this all the way up and the gauge is off, then you can use some air to add into the bladder that may have possibly escaped. You shouldn't have to do this very often at all. I haven't had to do it yet at all. You have a relief valve here, but when this hits max, that's when you stop the water. But if you don't stop, then it will start shooting water out of here. And here's your Gardena quick connect. You can see it just screws right in right here. So we should be able to, you know, take that out and change it up. The plunger you push down and turn, and then it'll come out like that. Goes back in and then turns. So that's pretty much it on the features on these. It's time to go ahead and test and show them out. Show that you don't need batteries, you don't need a pump, and you don't need air. So check the links below for anything in the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you're on mobile and you want to hype up the video, I'll use some hype points as well. I'll show at the end of the video how you can do that if you want to do that. Let's get into the fun. So even though the wand is kind of cheapy, the end here, this nozzle is pretty nice. It really is. So when you're on top of the car, you can kind of angle that down. You have that down angle. So we are covering the top of the car without wasting product, rather than some of them kind of like at this angle. So you're still kind of spraying out and you can waste product shooting over the car. We want to keep it on the car. And also, like I said, the other ones, if this isn't the orientation I'm looking for, I can spin this all I want without having to undo any of this threading to make the, wand match exactly, so you're not shooting like this or like this. The best thing about it is you don't have to lift it up to feel how much weight's in there. You have the gauge that's telling you how many liters is left in there. The spray change does not change from max all the way down to empty. So you can't tell if it's losing pressure, you're getting close. Obviously, yanking on this, if it's empty, it might fall over. But at least you know once you get to that point to where you're out of liquid. So now I'll show you one of the cool features, but also a quirk of this unit if not done properly. We have Nemesis Rinseless Wash from Detail Co. The House of Rags, code CarsWithKeev to save you 10%. This is my favorite rinseless wash. It's just cleans really well. It's slick. I mean, it's just good and it's economical. And, especially if you're a professional detailer, they have business accounts where you can get these at very good prices. So normally I do everything by the gallon. So I'm always used to 1/2 ounce per gallon. And I usually use 3 gallons in my bucket. So 1.5 ounces. This is by the liter, 5 liters. When you're using rinseless wash, the 256:1 dilution ratio, it's about 4 milliliters for every liter. So 5 liters here, we need 20 milliliters of product. Now, first of all, I'm gonna show you the quirk. So I'm not gonna waste any of my rinseless wash doing this. So when you push down and then you lift up for your plunger, you add your liquid directly to this hole right here. We're just gonna add some water in there. So when you put your plunger in, if you go slow, you're gonna notice water just starts shooting out of the front right here. But if you go fast, it shoots it right in and you don't lose any product at all. You just can't lollygag this. You just have to stand up and push down. And the good thing is it doesn't matter how much liquid I put in here now and how much I put later and when I put my rinseless wash in, because this only holds 5 liters and it will evacuate water out once it gets to that point. Plus you have the gauge to tell you when you're at 5 liters. So you're always gonna have an accurate dilution. So we're gonna put 20 milliliters in here. Just like that. We'll put this in here and then we will just go shoop. And then obviously we twist and turned it over. We lost no product at all. Now we can hook up our water hose. And like I said, I'm not going to fill it up all the way. We're gonna base this off of a medium to a lower pressure household. So here we go. Right there, yep. I'm just looking at the gauge to how fast it's filling up. It's based off of how fast it filled up when it was at full blast. That's about right. Now I'm gonna kind of overfill it on purpose so you can see the relief valve doing its thing. The gauge is like 5 liters, 4 liters, 3 liters, 2 liters, 1 liter. I would prefer it to be the other direction. All right, we're about to hit max, right? So normally I would stop, but I'm just gonna keep going. See? Oh yeah. There you go. So here's this one. Yeah, that's way different. So this one right here for spotless rinse. Not bad. Let me tell you what. It has some pressure. It has Fantic type pressure, not quite Sun Joe. I mean, we're at the 4 liter mark and nothing's changed. Yeah, that applies well. I wish it was a little less misty. I mean, this is just great coverage. And we are going to be spraying forever. Let's change this to something that's going to get us emptied a little bit quicker. So that shower. If you want to do spotless rinse, you fill this all the way up with some spotless rinse, you could definitely get the beads replaced with spotless beads, but it's sending a lot of product out. We're at 3 liter mark now. Then we have this big cone. That might work better for spotless. But we are, like I said, beyond the 3-liter mark, and we still have the same pressure and the same mist. There's a lot of rinseless wash wasted. The people commented in the video, you didn't use rinseless wash, all you did was spray water. It's the same thing. They spray the same consistency of liquid. I spray water because it saves me money. All right, we're at the 2-liter mark now. And our mist is starting to change. So the pressure is not exactly the same from max to empty. I stated earlier that's the case, but it is slightly less. This is more the spray pattern that I prefer myself. I'm not misting way out here, way out there. Everything's on a surface, slightly larger droplet. Still have well over 1 liter in there. I mean, you can see the difference. The pressure is gone. So for that last 2 liters or so, 2.5 liters, it does drop a good bit. But if you're just misting, you're still good. As you can see towards the end, we are definitely losing the pressure. There we go. DIY Detail sponge. The DIY Detail mini drying blanket. Love this. Love the sponge as well. Code CarsandKeev to save you 10% at the House of Rags or at DIYDetail.com. But I figured we're trying to use this for a rinseless. We might as well do a rinseless. All right. Nope. So we have the little mini here. I went ahead and I changed out and put my Ely Quick Connect in here. I love Ely products. So we know garden hose thread works here. That's good. You'll be able to use whatever Quick Connect that you're using. If you want to use Ely, link in the description below. But check this out. This is with it full max. Look at the flow coming out of the hose. That's pretty good. That means we get to dial it in with different nozzles. And that push lock. Oh, and I don't know if you noticed, my sentimental gun looks a little different here, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't know if I showed you in the last video, I split the housing on my last one. And when I went to buy a replacement, it was like 3 weeks out. And I was like, I can't wait 3 weeks. I tried my SGS-28 for just a little bit. Don't like it anymore. I like the trigger feel, but the hand feel of this is just so much better. And obviously the swivel is crazy good. This is actually the Quivr. I took the Quivr gun apart from Josh. I put the insides of the Quivr in this housing because I just prefer this color combination much better. Sorry, Josh. But if you do want the Quivr gun, code CarsandKeev will save you 10% at the House of Rags. It's kind of cool to have your own custom Quivr, right? But here's a 4.5 nozzle. So we're gonna have that issue with the nozzles of the outer being too strong for the inner because there's just not enough pressure for these types of nozzles. But I mean, we have some pretty good pressure at a 4.5. So we now have a 7.0 nozzle in here. What's the difference between 4.5 and 7? I really haven't tested nozzles, so we're all finding out together here. I mean, what much of a difference other than there's less mist. The inner and the outer are still stronger, but even on a 7.0. Now we're going to empty this pretty quick. There's no restriction in the wand and the nozzle like the other one has, right? It's restricting flow down to a certain point that we allow so much water out. This isn't doing that. 1/4-inch hose, we can flow the water, no problem, but we're going to use it very, very quickly. We're just using too much product, but we have the pressure. This is a 2.0. So that has limited to a certain degree. Obviously, we're getting lower in the pressure too, so I'm not quite sure if it's reacting the way it should. We'll pump this up one more time to make sure that this isn't different. But let's go ahead and empty all the... I mean, there still was that much liquid in there. There was a lot of liquid in there. Oh, we're getting down to the end. You can see it's just a single stream right now. All right, I'm going to fill it back up. Oh yeah, there's your mist. But we have this weird mist and too strong droplet and then nothing in the center. It's just a weird mix. Let's try the 7.0 again. Oh, look at that. We have almost a decent spray pattern here. Outside's a little strong, but the inside's much better. But this is definitely not an application spray. This is a rinsing spray. Spotless water. But you are going to use that up really quickly. How about the Quivr nozzle? It's a 1/4-inch shower nozzle. I mean, that would work for spotless, but it doesn't have much to it. I don't think it's worth it. Normally in a process, if you were spraying off grit, you'll be doing it at the very beginning when it's fully pressurized. So it can do that. It just, unlike the Sunjoy or the Fantic, the MB8, it just can't do that the entire time. Once it reaches a certain level, it kind of drops off a little bit. But sprays to the end gives you application spray mist throughout. Very efficient, doesn't waste a lot of water. It gets it out there. That's mainly what I would think this is for. We already showed that the threading can meet a 1/4-inch MPT. So you can convert this to a ton of different ways to do it for sure. You can experiment in your own way. I think it's viable to a certain extent, for sure. So I'll leave the link below to their website. I have no affiliation at all. They don't sell on Amazon or any platform. If you do want to support the channel, check the links below for anything in the video. If you're ever looking to shop on Amazon and you're like, hey, I want to support Quivr, just find the video, click on a link, and I do get credit for anything in your shopping cart. It helps buy things like this that aren't going to pay for themselves. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and there's a new feature called Hype. It's only available on mobile. I'm going to do this at the end of every video, highlight somebody. This is Details Official. These guys are hilarious. They're really cool guys. They're going over a BioBombs video here. BioBombs is amazing, even though Christian, who owns it, doesn't have very good taste in music. But we swipe to the left, and you can see right there, we have this Hype points. I hit Hype, and it says I can give them 1,100 points. I'm going to hit that right there and give them some Hype points. Gives a leaderboard, gives away for smaller creators, only for channels with less than 500,000 subscribers. So there you go. See you in the next video. Well, that is pretty much, that's pretty much it on the, well, that's pretty much it on, so that's pretty much it on the, oh my gosh. So that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much, so filling it up is just as, so filling it up is literally, so filling it up is, so I'll leave the link below, so I'll leave the link, oh. Well, you guys wanted kitty cats, and here they are. Actually, look over here. He's hiding behind the door. Valor. My son's cat's here for a little visit. He's over here to watch some football. It's his birthday. I'm going to take him out to eat. You don't want to smell those. They get along really well. I think he's too skittish to let us get too close. Hey, bud. There we go.